Now this morning, a new trailer for Skeleton Crew, which will begin with a 2-episode premiere on Disney Plus on December 3rd. A new trailer for it dropped, and the first thing I have to say about it is that it looked fun. It looked like it could be an enjoyable series for what it is, at the very least. And I think, right or wrong, if there truly is a right or wrong when it comes to this sort of thing, but right or wrong, better or worse, I think this is what a lot of people think or imagine Star Wars is or should be. Something more lighthearted, and again, very fun and action-adventure oriented. I also think, just kind of going off the feel or vibe of the trailer, how, as we've been told before as well, that this is indeed supposed to be a sort of Goonies in space. There is some attempted nostalgia here for those of us in maybe our 40s and 50s who remember watching that movie as kids. And thus I think it's clear this show is targeting two primary audiences. It is trying to capture, that generation that grew up with the original trilogy and, like I just said, likely saw and enjoyed something like Goonies back in the day, along with trying to capture the younger crowd, the current generation, who are, if we're being real and honest about it, are probably more Marvel or MCU fans than they are Star Wars fans. I really don't think the sequels resonated the same way with kids of the day as much as, or anywhere near as, something like Marvel did, especially considering the sequels, well, they overlapped with the build-up to Infinity War and Endgame, which saw big box office returns continually going up, with Endgame being the biggest movie of all time, while Star Wars saw them go down with the sequels, meaning, and maybe I'm dead wrong, and I'm not saying no kids like Star Wars today, but it certainly doesn't feel like there are tons of young Star Wars fans out there. There's some, sure, but I do think not as many as in generations gone by, and the hope with a show like this, with Skeleton Crew, is to begin to change that. It also definitely feels like there is a bit of a Guardians of the Galaxy feel to the trailer as well. We're trying to capture that same sort of tone and lure in Marvel fans who like that sort of blend between action and fun that Marvel movies often deliver, or at least try to deliver. They even used a more modern-ish song, or maybe I should say a song from our world, from Earth, that being Major Tom. They used it in the trailer. Again, like Marvel movies tend to use more modern-ish songs as well, or classic rock tends to be their favorite choice. And though I think it fit in the trailer well enough, it does maybe feel a little odd to see or hear something like that in a Star Wars trailer, though I'm sure some people out there loved the choice of song. That's fine, we can agree to kind of disagree on this one. It also seems like, as we've kind of guessed before from the first trailer that we got a couple months back now, as well as from the little bits of information we've gotten here and there over the years since this show was announced, that the premise is that a few kids from a rather safe and benign looking world in the Star Wars galaxy, one that literally looks like the suburbs, that they are going to stumble upon a ship, maybe a Republic ship from back in the day, which kind of gets hinted at when in this trailer they say or ask the kids, where did you get that old Republic credit? And who knows how far back in the day it may come from? Maybe way, way back in the day, like actual old Republic back in the day kind of thing? Considering how buried in the ground this ship looks to be, like it's been there for quite a while. And I think that is likely going to be the case, or something very similar to it, and that the ship they find the credits on, that they found buried on their homeworld, and that has taken them away from home after they decided to, of course, play around with the controls on the ship. I'm guessing that years ago, many, many years ago, it was going somewhere or coming from somewhere that had even more quote-unquote treasure on it, but it went missing. Maybe it's even a famous Republic ship, or I guess it doesn't have to be Republic, it could be any kind of ship affiliated with any faction or no faction at all. It could just be a bunch of pirates stole some credits. But either way, it's probably a ship that famously went missing, and these pirates, the ones we see in the trailer, have heard the legend of the ship and think it's the one from the legend, and thus are after the kids for the ship and the treasure. We even see Vane, who was in Season 3 of The Mandalorian and was one of the pirates. We see him present when the kids apparently pull out the credits before fleeing and seemingly being found by Jude Law's character named Jod Nanawood, who helps them get away, and then looks like he'll be helping the kids get back home, but is, he's secretly trying to get the treasure for himself, but needs the kids for some reason. Maybe the ship now only responds to them for some reason because they reactivated it. I don't know. Also, he'll probably pretend to be a Jedi in order to gain their trust. We saw in the first trailer that he kind of claimed to be one, and one of the kids, Whim, seems to have a fascination with them. And not only did he claim to be a Jedi, but we do see him use the Force in that trailer, or I think one of the kids assumed he was a Jedi. I don't know if he claimed to be, I don't recall right now. So he could either be a former Jedi, another Order 66 survivor who he's been making his way in the galaxy ever since, or he could just be conning the kids altogether, or is Force sensitive to some degree, but isn't or never was a Jedi. Who knows? Either way, I think he will be able to use the Force. Seems like he'd want to have some Force use in the show. And my gut instinct tells me his character will be, well, he'll be more than meets the eye in some way, shape, or form. And will, at some point after helping them all along, he'll betray the kids before, in the end, having a change of heart and helping them get home at the expense of finding the treasure. Anyway, another thing I really liked about the trailer that I hope is indicative of the show itself is there were a lot of aliens in it. Also seemed like a lot of practical effects aliens. And we have heard, again, from the little bits of info we've gotten about the show, that a lot of puppets were used, that there would be a lot of practical effects. To, of course, go along with a heavy use of the volume, I'm sure. But nevertheless, I always like seeing aliens in Star Wars, go figure. If I had one complaint about a show like Andor, which I absolutely loved, it would be that it was rather light on aliens. Maybe that'll change in season 2 of it, we'll have to see. So yeah, if I am on the right track with the premise here, it is going to have some serious Goonie vibes, and I really do think it looks like it could be fun. I think, or hope, it could at the very least be a solid series, and bring in some views, and maybe be an entry point into Star Wars for some younger viewers. Now, that said, I'm not sure this is the show that saves Star Wars in the grand scheme of things, or that it gets the sort of buzz that something like the first season or second season of The Mandalorian did. But at this point, I think a lot of fans will just take a solid and fun and enjoyable show, and one that's hopefully a step in the right direction for the franchise. I don't want to say we should lower our standards, we really shouldn't. But I do want to believe that this will be enjoyable for what it is, maybe not the most profound piece of Star Wars ever, but something we can sit and enjoy for a few hours. I am really trying to be open-minded and optimistic with this one. I do hope this is a good show and that I like it and that others do as well. The whole I always root for Star Wars thing again. And so, not to be pessimistic at the end here, but yeah, we have heard some less than great leaks or rumors about the show, though we don't know how true they are. Always possible complete BS rumors are. But we'd heard that they didn't really know what to do with the show or what they wanted it to be. That it was filmed and they kind of looked at what they had and shrugged their shoulders at it. They didn't know what to make of it or what to make out of it. So that could even be the reason why it was delayed. It originally was believed to be coming out last year at about this time, but obviously it didn't. Though it could just as easily have been delayed because of the writers' strike last summer, that Disney and Lucasfilm are trying to spread their content out as much as they can because of the strike, because there was a long pause in producing content, so they didn't want a huge gap in content release, and had they released it last year, there would have been one. Though we've also heard they may be going down to one Star Wars show a year, so who knows. All I do know right now is that it wasn't a bad trailer. It was actually pretty good. I don't know that it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I don't know that it was the most Star Wars trailer ever, nor would I say I'm suddenly super duper excited and confident this is going to be great, but it does have me a bit intrigued. It has my attention. And in about a month, with the launch of the first 2 episodes, again on December 3rd, we'll begin to find out just how good or maybe bad it is or isn't. Well, that's all I got for you this time. Now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell me what you thought of this trailer. Are you more or less excited or hopeful than you were before it? Or maybe it has your attention now where it didn't before, or maybe the show has lost your attention altogether. Whatever the case may be, leave a comment below, let's talk some Star Wars, and until next time, thanks for watching.